it's up to the SPLA and the Sudan Armed Forces to adjust themselves to the complex security environment. That's an important challenge that you should keep bearing in mind. I'm raising them up, tickling your mind, so that you should keep thinking about them as we go along discussing the issues of referendum. The other important challenge that was identified was the fact that in an event of separation and the South become an independent country, does the SPLA have the capacity to protect and project the national security interests of that particular area? These are some of the questions that we have been grappling with, and you need to take serious note of that. And the other important challenge is that definitely the South, just like any other African country, will be facing with the challenges of intrastate conflict. These are our realities. The nature of security threats in Africa have actually been defined by intrastate conflicts within the countries. There are only a few countries that had interstate conflicts, such as the classical example is Ethiopia and Eritrea. And certainly Southern Sudan and Sudan at large is not going to be an exception to that. There will be a bunch of militias, there will be a bunch of boys who will cross the lines with their AK-47 and cause problems. These are the challenges. The other important challenge is that will the SPLA be able to engage regionally and internationally with some of the defense forces in issues of joint operations, in issues of peace support and training exercises. The other challenge is whether the SPLA will be able to contribute effectively to the issues of human security. And we have to place a footnote on that. When we talk about the issues of human security, we're talking about the SPLA accepting that it shouldn't have the lion's share of the budget of Southern Sudan and leave opportunities for the other sectors to also benefit from the resources, such as health, education, and so forth and so forth. You can mention. And then finally, because of these challenges, the consensus is that the SPLA has to transform itself. The SPLA has to transform itself. And I remember in 2004, before the CPA was signed, we started discussing those issues that, transformation is an open-ended concept. What does it mean? And again, we agreed that transformation is not an event. It's not a one-night event. It's a process. And my experience with my colleagues in the U.S. Army, in the U.S. military here, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, etc., they even tell me that the U.S. military is transforming, even today. It's transforming because of the constant changing environment at the security level. So the question is then, what does transformation mean to us? What will be some of the transformation end state that we need to work towards? And the agreement is that we need to transform the SPLA, turn the SPLA to a professional, and I need you to mark those words quite carefully, with professional, accountable, affordable, and then also operational effective military. These are very important. And when we talk about professionalism, we are talking about the SPLA adhering strictly to some of the roles and functions that have been given to it by the Constitution, by the legal documents. And when we talk about accountability, we are basically talking about subjecting and subordinating the SPLA to the civilian government. That will mean we will have to accept parliamentary oversight, we will have to accept we will have to account to the public. We cannot go on our own and declare war. War should be declared by our civilian government. And when we talk about affordability, we are talking about the SPLA planning on the basis of the resources available, not the other way around. And finally, when we talk about operational effectiveness, and it's a part that I love most, is that, and to me, that forms the actual function of any defense force in the world, which is to fight and win its nation's war. That's it. If I cannot defend the people and fight our wars and win, I will not be of any use to you as citizens of Sudan, and South Sudan, let me say, in particular. So these are some of the challenges and areas that we actually considered. And one thing I'm going to do just to conclude, is to just quickly put up a model, which I'm not going to describe it, I'm not going to discuss it, but you just have to look at it and decode and decipher some of it. It's something I developed about 6 months ago, which I use constantly. model there. The whole idea behind that model is to demonstrate to you that whatever we have been doing as the Sudan People Liberation Army have actually been the result of a logical thought process. It's not coming from nowhere. We are guided by some of what we call the legal documents that are available in Sudan. We are talking about the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, we are talking about the interim national constitution, and we're talking about the constitution of the government of South Sudan. These are some of the legal documents that guide the SPLA as an army. And if you see at the bottom, there is we're talking about documents such as South Sudan Security Strategy, where, which is able to bring to us some of the elements of power that any nation can bring to bear. And these are the four elements of power that any nation can bring to bear. And I'm sure even the Women Network can identify itself there. And of course, for us in the military, we are very much concerned about the red one, and that's where we derived the whole logic to the development of the SPLA White Paper on Defense, and therefore the military strategy. So we can go on and explaining this model, but it's just a quick summary to tell you that some of the processes that we have been involved in have been guided by some of those visions and legal documents. So I will rather give the opportunity for you to ask questions, but we can just go on and on and on. But one thing I just want to emphasize is that we have to live within the realm of realism. We need to be realistic about ourselves, other than being sentimental about unity and so forth. As I said earlier on, at the end of the day, it's the responsibilities and the hands of you to determine the fate of that particular country. And at the same time, yani mafiu mujamala, because what is it that we have not seen? We have seen it all. In combat, in battles, Muslim in Shabab, I'm sure some of them end up bullet wounds on their bodies. We have seen all these nasty things. So we cannot be told now that we can hug each other and so forth. These are some of our realities. So we rather control our nerves and really give respect to some of the boys and girls who lost their lives. Most of us here, whether from the north or from the south, have at least a member of the family who died directly or indirectly in the war. And we should also do it for the generation to come. Thank you very much.